All right, so what's up, fight fans? It is Big Smoothie, my man, Crazy Mike Musatelli. This is Crazy Smooth Combat Radio. We took a month off because, sometimes, you need a little break from things, and not exactly the hardest job that we have doing this podcast. But
I don't know. It's tough for me. I have to look at you. So
listen, I'm skinnier.
You are? You got your haircut?
Yeah, I got a hair. I couldn't deal with the hair no more.
It was.
I'm just trying to look sexy for you. That's all.
We had to take time to write up something to make fun of Bernie, and it didn't come out as quick as we hoped. So we need to get our monthly Bernie. And
stuff. Yes. So here we are back, episode 4. Man, it's so much going on in the world of MMA.
4? I thought it was 5.
No, we're in 4.
4?
Yeah, we're in 4, man. Yeah,
it was like 5.
Huh? No. No,
counting.
It's all good. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Numbers. Damn numbers.
Right.
A lot of things happening in the world of MMA, including, obviously, the TRT ban, the things happening with Gilbert Melendez, and the last couple of UFCs, which we haven't had a chance to really talk about.
We have not.
And then, of course, Bellator back.
Coming back season 10.
That's right. And a very interesting night last Friday night, which many think may have been staged a tad bit.
The light heavyweight scuffle.
Yes.
Between two of my possible future
could
opponents.
Be, absolutely, could be. But we'll chat about that. Let's get into it first. How are you?
I'm okay. As you can see, I've got a minor injury that I'm nursing. I may or may not have almost taken my finger off.
Do we have to give you a nurse? Do we have to have? You have to have a nurse while you're at home.
Be handy if you got one lying around.
Is there any ladies out there that just want to hang with Mike? Not any specific reason, but just to cut up his fruit, because apparently he can't cut his fruit up.
Rory McDonald, right before his last fight, almost cut his finger off with an avocado. At least I had like a firm fruit where pressure was required.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It wasn't just like an avocado where. That's a wimpy fruit to cut yourself with.
So cutting up an apple, right? Is that what you were doing? You're making a smoothie.
Making a smoothie, cutting an apple, and just almost went through my finger. You can see it.
Yeah.
Nice diagonal.
What do you got, like 5,
there.
6 stitches in there?
Yep. Good guess.
Very nice.
Right on spot.
Very nice. Look at, after watching your son get stitches, you kind of know what's, you know what I mean? How many they're going in there.
Yeah.
But, so your finger will be fine, though, by the time.
It'll be a week.
As it heals up, and you'll be good.
2-3 more days.
How's training going? Everything well?
Going great, man. Got some fight stuff on the horizon. Can't, of course, say too much.
God forbid if you could talk about it, but it's all right. Next time.
That's the biz.
But here's what will happen. We'll do it on the People's Show. We'll bring you in.
There we go.
And we'll have the official fight announcement here in Syracuse.
Plugs.
Bingo.
All sorts of goodness.
All right. So that's a good thing. So lots of things happen in your world.
It's gonna be exciting. Gonna be cross training around some of the other Balance affiliates. It'll be a good time, man.
Nice.
Get some new partners in there.
There you go.
Get to work.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Branching out.
So
growing. So proud of you. So check this out, man. Gilbert Melendez.
Yes.
This may have been without a doubt, one of the biggest things that ever. This may be a game changer in the world of MMA.
It's definitely huge.
Basically, Dana told him to go poop in a hat.
Well said.
Thank you. And
You're not on the air. Like you could have sworn.
I could have, but you know,
took the high road.
I did. I took the high road because usually I'm the one that's taking the shots, and I'm
all right.
pooping a hat. Bellator offered him a deal, and then Lorenzo turns around and basically hugs it out.
Hug it out, bro.
Hugs it out, and now he got a pretty damn good deal back from the UFC.
He did. I mean, it's a bold move by my current employer of Bellator to start saying that. All right, if these guys aren't getting their pay due, because fighter pay has been a huge issue since the UFC really broke into the mainstream. Since before that, when it was kind of a fringe thing where people saw it as pit fighting and all that, it wasn't a big deal. But now that it's trying to regard itself as a legitimized sport with Fox and Spike and major network time and reality shows and clothing lines, the pay of the athletes has got to be it's a pretty big deal to a lot of people. They don't want to see people going out there and killing themselves for nothing. As weird as that statement sounded coming out of my mouth, it sounded better in my head. I'm like, people, I don't want to watch people commit suicide. No, it's not. You know what I mean?
That's how it works. It all sounds good inside your head.
If someone's going to be an elite level athlete, if someone's going to work their way all the way to the top rung of the ladder,
get paid for it.
Yeah, you see people in the NBA and the NFL and MLB and MLS.
are very overpaid for the most part.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I don't think that I'm going to be pulling down $200 million just to be a backup punter or whatever it is, but I think I actually looked it up at one point. It was something like $750,000 to be like a backup punter.
Yeah, it's
like that man will not see the field for 8 years.
Think about it.
And
We both played college football. Imagine going to the NFL and just going for tryouts. You're making $5,000-6,000.
Yeah.
Then you get a contract. Even if you're the last guy on the roster, you're making about $385K.
Yeah.
And most of the times, if you're one of those guys, you're staying at somebody else's place. You know what I mean? At one of the other guys in the team, or you're in a hotel, or whatever it might be. You're making pretty damn good scratch.
Oh, yeah, and so a lot of people are like going like, these guys are obviously a little more physically involved than the fourth string QB.
Right?
Why aren't they pulling in professional? And there's a reason for that though. It's not just saying these guys deserve more because they were upstanding, caring fans. That's not necessarily it. But if you want to get the best athletes, you have to give them a reason to come to this sport rather than the other venues. You know, if people are going to be the greatest fighters, they have to start training with this as a goal in mind. Now, if you went out, if it's a passion of yours, that's one thing.
Right.
But, if you just have this God-given, amazing natural athletic talent, and someone says you could either be an NFL player and make billions of dollars, or you could be an MMA fighter and make a couple hundred. Which route is the natural athlete going to chase from a young age? And that's what you have to start evolving fighter pay so that that's a viable option for people. And this is that's a huge move to get it moving in that direction, to say, oh, you're not going to pay me. Well, I know someone else that will.
Right.
And so if someone else will pay that amount, then you have to match it or you're going to lose this person.
Absolutely.
And if you, it was really, I can sound biased here, but you can go and look at it. It really was a win-win for Bellator. If they got Gilbert Melendez, obviously it's an amazing athlete. One of the, what's he, number 2 or something like that?
Easily.
Or number 1 or number 2 contender in his weight class.
Number 1. It's going to be a title shot as soon as he his first fight.
So you're looking at ranked number 1, number 2 in the world in his weight class, and you now have this athlete on your roster, obviously raising your company's stock, obviously getting eyes tuned in and watched. And if you don't get him, it's going to, let's be honest, cost your opposition some money.
Absolutely.
And 2, it's going to bring your name into the fray where people go, oh, wow, this top guy was considering someone else. Maybe they have something else to offer too. Sure. So now you get some more free eyes. It was just really a really big thing. There are a lot of game-changing elements came from it. And now, right after that, Diaz there immediately said, I want to be let out of my contract. I want out so I can go shopping around.
Right.
And so, if you start seeing these top-level guys go out and say, we want,
I'm gonna go
show
get
me
paid.
the money.
Yeah, I'm going to go get paid.
Yeah, and you have someone else willing to pay them, then you got to start ponying up cash. And that's just going to raise...
you look at any NFL team, and, LeBron... The LeBron watch before he went to Miami, that was huge.
Well, that's the thing is people say, oh, well, you can't pay the NFL, the fighters, NFL players, because it's not the same thing. It's a team sport, not an individual sport. Yeah, but if you think of each league as a team, like Bellator being, the Jets and that's not a nice comparison.
You know what I'm saying, right?
You know what I'm saying,
If you said Buffalo, you might be,
I'll get fired.
Yeah.
Sorry, Buffalonian fans.
Ding, ding.
All right. Anyway, my brother lives in Buffalo. Not Bernie. Bernie. We still haven't made fun of him. We'll get to you.
We'll get there. Don't worry. It'll happen.
It has to happen organically.
Yes, it does.
All right. But you know what I mean? It's like a between teams negotiation.
Absolutely.
If you don't have more than one team, if the NFL was just going out and holding a scrimmage every week, in-team players on TV, they wouldn't pay any of those guys anything. They have to raise the prices because otherwise someone else is going to swoop in and take the best players. And that's what you need. And even if you go further back, you talk about when there used to be the AFL and the NFL or the NBA and was it the ABA?
Yep.
That seems to be A versus N.
Very good.
But, back then there were bidding wars between the leagues for top players. And that's what kind of evolved fighter pay. So it'll be interesting to see how this moves forward, how this future affects negotiations, because he's going in there and he's getting They were saying pay-per-view points at the lowest buy-in rate because usually it's
he's going to be on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yep, as a
coaching
coach.
against Pettis. He gets a crack at the title. He gets a chance to continue his career as an analyst for Fox. So there was one, and he's guaranteed to be a pay-per-view at least 3 out of every 4 fights of which he will get a cash cut.
Yeah, and the cash cut thing, there's a stipend there. That's not the right word, but there's a stipulation. That's the word I'm looking for. A stipulation with pay-per-view points saying that after a certain amount of buys, that's when you get paid, and this is the amount you get paid. He's getting paid at a lower required buy-in than anyone to date. And I think it may be a more significant amount.
Oh, it's once it's all done. Yeah, he could fight literally. He could put in 4 fights the next year, and probably make probably 6 of the top fighters in the UFC make.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's no doubt,
and that's huge. And the thing is it's interesting that it came from Melendez because while he is a fairly big name, he's not necessarily a Liddell, a Silva,
right?
You know,
he's
a
not
GSP.
One of those guys. Yeah,
he's not a hyper elite. You know, but he's a big name and he's obviously an incredibly skilled opponent, an incredibly skilled fighter. He's not my opponent; he's like 100 pounds less.
Yeah, right.
But you know what I mean. He's. It's not necessarily his star power that's getting him the money. It's his skill as a fighter and his potential star power and things like that. So that adds a little more validity to the bidding war too. You know, if you were just bidding over a Brock Lesnar, a big name that people, you know, he's not the greatest fighter, but he's a sideshow actor, Kimbo Slice that people are going to tune in to watch just to watch
name, because
you know, and then he's going to fizzle out as a crap fighter.
Right.
That's one thing, but he's a quality fighter and a top-notch champion, and you know, that's what he's going off of. He's not going off of his Nike commercials. He's going off of his ability as a fighter, not his Facebook page.
So he did all right. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He did all right, and this just may be a complete game changer for the entire the world of MMA. I mean, and I think the best thing at this point about Bellator is there's not an opportunity where UFC is going to buy Bellator out like they've bought out, you know, Strikeforce, and they've bought out, you know, K1 and all these other things.
They got a significant backer in Viacom, obviously. I mean, it does depend on Viacom's willingness to invest in the product.
Right.
But this shows on another point that they're not going to back down from the UFC. That Viacom has enough of Bellator's back that if they need a little extra influx of money, they're going to go there. They're going to go there. They're going to help them out. It's not just they're not in it just to test the waters of MMA. They're in it to support a growing product, which I'm fortunate to be a part of. And, you know, there you go, boss. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
Bjorn's not listening to my radio show.
Probably not.
Although he did tweet me on my birthday. That's something that was cool. And he talked about cookies.
In your last one.
He talked about the cookies on my birthday tweet. He's like, can't wait to see you come back around and bring more cookies. And I was like, look at that. Bjorn friggin' Rebney.
Which, speaking of birthday victory cookies, you had an opportunity, but you didn't tell to make some.
I did not tell the baker.
Yes.
I don't know if we can expose the name.
We already did.
Oh, we did?
We did the first time we talked about it.
Sorry, Mandy. You're out there. You're out there. If you get a bunch of Facebook requests from a bunch of hungry guys looking for cookies. I believe
that happened because after we talked about that, man, it kind of went around a little bit.
It did.
So.
It became a thing.
It did. But, I can't have victory cookies now anyway.
No, I really can't.
Another 3 months when I get down to where I got
to wait till a victory.
Well, you got to wait. All right, so here's what we'll do. After your next fight, and wherever I'm at weight-wise, we'll have victory cookies.
We will. You can let a cheat cookie in.
But you obviously don't understand.
I know. No, it starts with one cookie, and then you wake up passed out in like a filling of gel and just.
You don't understand. Like, I am a cookie freak. I love cookies, man. It's really? Pretty bad. I do. I not like where it's going to get like kind of weird in here. But there's no.
I did notice the doors closed and we have no windows.
You might be in trouble, buddy. But no, I mean, yeah, I enjoy 1, 2, or 10.
Enjoy you a cook.
Yeah. So, amazing Gilbert Melendez. He made out pretty damn good, and we'll see where this goes. I think the next 6 months between the two companies are going to be kind of significant.
Interesting. You know, every time a big name contract starts coming up, it's going to be interesting to see if they go out and decide to shop around their worth. I mean, they have to. I mean, if your manager is worth it,
yep,
Go out there and find your true value in a market value. That's
Get
where the
paid.
term comes from.
Mofos get paid.
Yeah, let's do it, fighters.
I wish I could do that.
No, you don't.
No, you're right. I don't. I really don't. All right, so let's roll into the next UFC before we get into the Bellator stuff. Obviously, last UFC was Rousey pay-per-view was Rousey versus McMahon, which I'll be honest, man, that wasn't really that good. I mean, some of the undercard fights were pretty decent.
What is it, a record 10 decisions on that one or something like that?
Yeah.
No,
and, of course, another short stoppage, too. But
yeah.
Herb's got a new nickname. Herb's got a new shortstop Herb Dean.
That's a pretty crappy, uninventive
Is it?
nickname.
I'm sorry.
I'm very
That's the
disappointed. I
best
was
I
expecting
had.
something brilliant.
Yeah.
And you're like, shortstoppage McGee. And I was like, oh. Because he stops things shorts.
Damn it.
Get it?
Damn it.
Like, I do get it.
I
do
failed.
get it.
I'm sorry. I failed.
It's all right.
But obviously, Ronda with the liver kick.
If I can. It
Yes,
was,
no,
it
you
was,
do
it was a
whatever you wanna
knee,
do.
and it was more to the sternum.
Okay.
Let me just say
I'm not a
this real
fighter,
quick.
so to me, see, that's the best. The thing about us is
Expert.
I have no. All I'm enjoying is watching people get punched in the face.
There's the occasional
or
submission.
or
Choked
submission or choke
armed.
or anything like that.
Barred.
Which it's funny to hear my wife say, "Choke her out, choke her out." It's pretty actually hilarious. But so you gave me the good insight on exactly what the hell's going on.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't mind the occasional stoppage, but let's throw a few things in the mix.
Okay.
One, ow! I just touched my giant stitched finger. And I'm pointing my middle finger at you. Sorry. One is it's a championship fight.
Yep.
Championship fights got to go a little longer. You need a definitive end to a championship bout. All right,
Absolutely.
That's how it is. All right, when you've earned your way to that spot, you don't want any gray area. Two, it's a body shot. All right, I get it. Believe me, I've been hitting the liver hard enough, and I know what the feeling is. And I've been hitting the sternum hard enough when you just drop and you just collapse for a second.
Well, you can't breathe.
Oh
Ain't
yeah.
nothing else to do.
When you take the shot in the liver, your legs shut down because of a rush of toxins to the body, and that, yeah, I've experienced that, and it's a bummer. But you still want to fight. If you're taking shots to the head, and we're trying to prevent brain damage permanently, crap like that.
You mean like
All right.
prior in that actual
like earlier
UFC,
in that card where that massacre
pounded in the head?
Oh
wasn't
my
he?
God.
And everybody's like, "You gonna stop it? You gonna stop it? You gonna stop?"
I watched. I'm a fighter, and I felt like a cringe. Like I literally looked away. I'm like, I felt like I was watching snuff. The man got knocked out, then punched, reconscious, just to get knocked out, and then I was like, do you not notice his eyes have rolled completely?
Has anybody saw what's happening right now?
It was horrible.
Herb Dean, what the hell are you doing, dude?
So to go from that,
Yes.
I mean,
All right, I got you.
So I mean, that was another note I was gonna get there. I mean, we need a little, consistencies between fights is important.
Right.
When a fighter, one fight you let go on like that, and then when you let the bigger fight kind of stop short. If you're preventing brain damage, all right, I'm all with a premature stoppage because we all want to be able to remember the names of our kids and
Absolutely.
things like that once we're done doing this.
And not be like a.
But if it's a body shot, you're not in like mortal danger of permanent brain damage. If she takes another 2 shots to the liver and we're
Sure.
worried about it rupturing,
Sure.
okay, yeah, fine. But you saw as soon as Herb Dean removed his hands, she popped right up and was ready to fight. It wasn't like she was even holding her wrist. And
everybody's like, "What the F
so
just happened?"
and then there's been the theorists out there. A few people commented because I did post that I thought it was a bit, premature.
Sure.
There are a lot of people that are like, oh, it's a conspiracy and they're trying to save and make Ronda Rousey the face. I don't believe that. I don't think that's true at all. But a lot of people were like, if that was a guy's fight, do you think it would have been stop shortage? And you're wondering, is there kind of a natural problematic instinct of
'Cause there's
protect the
chicks.
women?
So,
things
well,
like
they
that.
do have a woman ref.
Yeah.
Then the woman ref should be reffing the women.
If
Yes,
that's
no, I
what
mean-
you're concerned about, yeah.
Right.
I mean, but if not, then you have to find some way to maybe, I don't know if it's an add-on course for or some kind of extra test.
Right.
For if you watch a women's fight, it has to be treated like a men's fight. I mean, so that was just. I don't necessarily believe that's. I think it could have just been poor judgment, but there are people that do think that.
Well, that was
what if it's a guy?
the second one. I mean, that was the second short stop he had in a month.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
with the last one was Faber. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And Uriah gives him the thumb up, and he
stops the fight.
and he stops the fight, and it was one of those things, especially after taking that fight on short notice. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Referee inconsistency is going to be a problem for
Exactly.
a while. I mean,
And
especially
usually
in
it
a sport
isn't.
like that.
And honestly, usually it isn't. It
Well,
hasn't
Herb's
been.
usually is as steady as it comes. But, hey, sometimes
Where was Big
mistakes
John when you need him, Dan? Where the hell was Big John?
mistakes get made, in the heat of the action, and I certainly don't envy the referee's job. I mean, that's a sucky position,
Right.
but I mean, you have to set a certain a prerequisite for people to follow, and those are what I feel in especially in a championship bout, and when it comes to a body shot stoppage, and when it comes to women's MMA. I feel like those are important things you have to be prepared for going into that, and to see the fight stopped a little early was kind of a bummer. But that was a side note. Where were we anyway?
No, that's fine. I'll let you go. But we'll come back to Ronda in just a sec. Of course, the co-main event on that card was Cormier supposed to be against Rashad, and then Rashad apparently hurt himself. Cormier didn't want to wait. He wanted to fight, so they go out and find the kid from the freaking coffee shop, Cummins, which I had a chance to talk to on the air. And, he's saying the same things, you know what I mean? And then he goes out and gets quickly knocked out.
Don't get me wrong. The kid, he looked like he's got all the potential in the world.
Right. And he's 4 wins. I mean,
but clearly he wasn't
ready.
More time needed. And mental preparation, physical preparation.
We'll see him again, though. I mean, he signed a multi-fight deal, so we'll definitely see him again.
Well, that's deserving. He'll have to spend a little more time in the gym.
How often do you think now that happened once that will happen again? Somebody getting signed off the street like that?
Well, if you recall...
It happened to you, right?
It's kind of how I made my debut in Bellator.
Yes.
I was, I went 1-0. I was 4-0 as an amateur. I went 1-0 as a pro. I was a big underdog, and I couldn't get a fight to save my life for about. And I actually looked it up the other way. I think it was something like 21 months in a row. I went without a fight. I couldn't get a fight. I had something like 10 fights where I was like, "Hey, can I fight? Okay, I'm gonna fight." Oh no, my opponent left. Okay, I actually had one fight where it was the day before, and I remember this. It was like hosted by Steve Blackman. Remember the Sticks from the WWF? He wore the kung fu pants. He was Ken Shamrock time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Blackman. I think it was like his martial arts school was hosting it or something like that. I just remember that. And I was on the card, and 2 days or a day before, I'm calling Chris because I'm like, "Hey Chris, when are we gonna end up to get going for this card?" He's like, "I don't think this card's happening." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "The whole card just folded. The entire event.
The whole fight.
There's no event now."
And
I did that. There were 10 or 11 of those that happened before I could get my next one. And I had another fight on another small league, and then I got this call because I had gone out for the tryouts.
You did, yeah,
for
right,
Bellator twice. And we covered that
last
time. and I met up with Jimmy, and he was like, I met my agent there, and all of a sudden I got this call from him like, "Hey Mike, look, we got an opportunity to fight for Bellator. It's short notice. It's like 8 days. It's the guy's undefeated. He's good, but I think you should do it. It's a good opportunity." And obviously that's how I came up and got my name made.
Right.
But that being said, I did have a few fights extra. So if I did come up from this, for this scrap and showed that I was willing to do this,
right?
Even if I had lost, which I didn't.
Ding, ding, ding. Which,
right.
by the way, I'm 6-0.
Yeah, suck it. All right. It's nice to have that kind of security blanket.
Sure. Yeah. Right. On. Absolutely.
But hopefully. I mean, you want to say that you want to see it more because you like that Rocky Cinderella story. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Sells pay-per-view buys, which ultimately happened.
I mean, that was...
Didn't sell tickets to the event, but actually sold more pay-per-view buys. That wasn't a great card.
We can
go there all day.
But, I mean, it's always a good story, but it's also a risk and reward. I mean, you could see people that don't necessarily belong on that level getting their shot on that level, and then you get people going, "Oh, well, what the hell's this guy doing on this card? This is a watered-down product."
Right.
And you got all that mumble in and whatnot.
Well, he got the shot. He got knocked out.
He did.
Cormier actually made weight, which I was surprised because I didn't honestly think he was going to make weight.
Despite his Popeye chicken addicted.
Yeah.
You read that, right?
Yeah.
He almost missed weight because after the fight got canceled, he went out and just mowed down some Popeye's
That's
chicken.
fat kid mentality.
The best part is that after he won, Popeyes sent him like a meal and tweeted at him and stuff. That's awesome.
Popeyes here is not
Who
very
do I
good.
like?
Just
White
by the
Castle,
way,
but White Castle isn't up here.
Popeyes in Syracuse sucks. It's terrible.
I haven't even been there.
It's awful.
I just can't. Well, one,
Here's
it's not
the deal.
particularly
Not to be
on a fighter's diet.
Listen, a Popeyes, I'm just saying, and obviously when you talk fried chicken, you obviously have a thought process there. Who makes fried chicken better? But I'm just saying.
I'm really not sure if I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, all right. But I'm just saying. We'll just leave it at the Popeyes.
Scoot my chair.
I'll just delete this out or something. Yeah. But I'm just gonna say the Popeyes in Syracuse is terrible. All right, we'll leave it at that. All right, going back to Rousey, obviously being the top woman fighter in the UFC. I love it when things just take a turn for what the hell just happened. When do we see, or will we ever see Invicta featherweight champ Chris Cyborg in the UFC, and that it looks like it's that everybody wants to see that fight.
That is the one that everyone wants to see because she's obviously been a dominant force.
She's beast mode.
She's as much as I hate that.
And
term,
she doesn't have the stupid look on her face like Ronda does. Like Ronda looks like the spoiled brat kid,
the pout face
that didn't get her own way. It's hilarious to me.
It is. Yeah. No. I
don't
approve of the Ronda pout face.
Yeah.
But it's no. I mean, because everyone thought that. What was her name? Gina Carano. Oh,
yeah.
Gina Carano.
I know.
Yeah. Was going to be undisputed. We thought she was the baddest women's fighter to ever enter the ring.
Right.
And then Cyborg just came in and just did terrible, terrible things.
She punched her in the face.
Wiped the mat with her.
A lot.
And people, and then she went into a Thai fight and beat Thai champion. She's a bamf, man. She's a badass. The last two letters.
Shut your mouth.
I'm just talking about it. Cyborg.
Shut your Popeye mouth. What? I
thought we were going to cut that out.
Anyway. I'm leaving it in there now.
For the record, no. I'm merely a coworker. No, I don't associate with this man outside of.
Do we see the fight? Will it ever happen? We know we know UFC has the money.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is there's a lot of this brings up another point. Is there's been a lot of talk, and Dana's been making a lot of really bold statements about their women's champ, how she's the biggest star they've ever had, and which is kind of, if I was GSP or Anderson Silva or Brock Lesnar or anyone else, or Matt Hughes or Frank or Matt Hughes,
right,
or
Liddell.
Ken Shamrock, Chuck Liddell,
yeah,
Tito Ortiz. I'd be a little miffed at that statement.
Right.
But, to have her come out and say this, a lot of people are saying, well, are they going to put her against a smashing machine like that? Mm-hmm. Or are they afraid to? Will Dana make the match and all this? And,
well, when we seen her get hit in the face, she doesn't like it.
No, she definitely turns away.
Yeah.
And to see someone that would hit with that kind of power would certainly be interesting. Could she keep it on her feet? It would be the big question. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the thing is no matter how much he wants to protect her, I do think that he supposedly wants to protect her.
Right.
I can't make
maybe
bold statements like that.
Sure you can.
Sure I can.
Dana does. Why can't you?
Right. Because I don't have.
Who are we?
I don't have Dana money. The bottom line is if he thinks enough people are going to pay to watch Dana fight. That's I'd pay to watch. Watch
smacked in the face, maybe.
Watch Cyborg and
Rousey
fight. Then he'll make the match, and that's.
We'll see.
But it has been said, and the problem for Cyborg comes out. She says, "I would die at 135," and I don't know why she sounded like that in my head.
She talks like that.
The body rock.
Is that the Brazilian speak? Is that what you got going on over there?
I don't know, but if she. She said she couldn't do that, or I'd die. Right. So now they're like, well, then why can you make it now? She's like, no, I misspoke. I wouldn't literally die. I just felt like I'd be dying, or whatever. So what they've said is she has to go down to 135 in Invicta, mm-hmm. win 2 fights there, go to the UFC, win a fight there, and that's, that's the supposed road that they've offered her.
Right.
That's not saying if she drops to 135, Rex face, Dana still wouldn't be like, oh, get bent, I was lying.
Yeah.
He could do that,
right.
But. Supposedly, that's the path that she has to follow. So.
Well, we'll see if that will happen. I'd like to see it.
I'm more interested in, honestly, there's a lot of hot prospects in women's MMA that haven't been given quite enough time. One of the big ones is Holly Holm. Mm-hmm. She is the best women's boxer ever, better than Layla Ali.
Wow.
She's like multiple-time world champion. She had something like 34-2 or something like that with like 30 knockouts. And she moved to MMA, and right now I think she's 4 or 5-0, all with 3 head kick knockouts.
She's
just a power boxer. that's someone who's also, really on the radar and not as many people are talking about. And her I think her footwork is actually better than Cyborg's. So I think that might be even a more dangerous matchup for Rousey. But, again, she doesn't have the name power, and she actually wants money because she was a world champion boxer. She's like, why am I going to go?
Yeah,
you're not going to throw me in the main event for $5,000. That's not going to happen.
You're going to have to pay me.
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go. So we'll see if that'll happen.
Yeah,
so,
just interesting stuff.
Little
women's
look into
MMA side note.
Women's MMA. Right.
WMMA.
That's right. Now switching it to, of course, Bellator. We finally started up last week with a shorts tournament for the light heavies, which, of course, would be was actually some pretty decent fights last week.
Good fights. The Mo and Mo's fight was terrible. Sorry, he's not listening, but if he does, then there you go. That's what I thought about your performance. I would love to fight Mo and let that be known. I don't care. Okay. All right. I have to start doing some of that.
You know what? You're right. You're right. You got to start.
I can't be perfectly polite all the time.
You start hanging with me more, you'll get that dick mentality.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying dick's on your mind all the time?
No, I went the wrong. I can't believe we're 30 minutes in and we haven't talked about your brother yet. But anyway,
we'll get to it.
That's beside the point because he's actually training now.
He is.
So
he's whiny.
He is. Facebook.
No, he's working hard. He's working really, really hard.
Right. So see how that was a redirect. See, redirect. Got to redirect off me right to your brother.
Well done.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So at the end of the Rampage fight, after Rampage knocked out, what did I forget the hell his name is? Umpumbu.
Who weighed in at 199.8 for that fight. Weighed in at that.
How is that? How is he able to fight that?
I don't cut a ton of weight. I mean, at my biggest, I get to 225. When I'm actively training in camp-ish mode, I'm usually 215, 210. But to walk under the weight, and that's the thing is Rampage is a notoriously big guy. No, it's not.
Okay. All right.
Rampage is a notoriously large heavyweight. He walks around at 245, 255, 260, and by the time he entered that cage, he was 225. And you kind of got the vibe when the bell rang when Pumbu realized, "Ooh, I'm in here with a really large guy."
This is a big man. Yeah.
Which. Side note, also not scared of that because my first fight was against heavyweights, and my first pro fight was against a giant Roy Beast.
See, you know what the difference is though is.
Are you telling me I should be scared of a heavier guy?
No. What I'm saying the difference is
I have to defend big guys because I'm a big guy too.
No,
I got it.
No, it has nothing to do with that. But the difference is playing like college football and growing up playing football, you faced bigger guys. You were a tight end and a defensive end.
Oh, no.
So you played against bigger dudes.
Yeah, no, so that's part of the mentality.
It's a minor detail that some of these guys that never played a contact sport or maybe went to MMA.
Or even directly into boxing or kickboxing, you're always fighting someone
right.
roughly equivalent to your size, and there's some weird weight classes.
And even the wrestlers and stuff
like that. But
I mean,
he was a champion. He's got an outstanding record. He just didn't seem to be there.
Right.
He was spending a little much time running. His chin was up awfully high.
Well, he got his chin.
And then he made some very poor choices into pulling deep half guard, that's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu term. But there's proper ways to do that, and he did not choose the proper way. And he got his head punched.
He went night-night.
Quite hard for that. You want to go night-night? You ever go night-night?
Mr. T put you night-night. So obviously we see the interview at the end, and I don't know if it was staged or not because it did seem fishy.
I don't feel necessarily it was staged because I feel like if it was staged, Rampage is much better on the mic than that.
Yeah. Right. He
kind of. A lot of people feel like it's staged, and just because.
I think he was in the middle of talking, and then all of a sudden he caught Mo out of the side of his eye, and then it became rage, which we almost seen him actually go at it in the cage. Then,
I mean, you said, I thought they'd start swinging if they really wanted to fight, but that man just finished a fight. They both just finished a fight.
Yeah.
Neither of them. I mean, even if. Mo just finished a 3-round fight,
right?
Which I don't think he won a unanimous decision on, but we'll get to that. Rampage just finished a fight. It doesn't matter how fresh or short, it doesn't matter. You're still not in the mood to kick it back up,
right? Yeah.
So there is that.
I
meant to send that to you earlier.
Okay,
you had texted
all right,
me.
Okay, you're right.
I didn't think it was real because they would have fought. I'm like, they just fought.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Listen, that's where. Listen, I don't fight.
There we are.
You know what I'm saying?
The experience coming in.
I played 4 quarters of football. That was about. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. So, all right. So we'll go with that. The adrenaline's down. you're kind of at a little bit of a chill mode.
But as you said, we're bringing this up is we talked about way long ago. Go back to our earlier episodes, listeners. Yeah,
all 4 of them.
Generating. I swear
all 3,
we've done
all
5.
3. No, 3. We've done 3. No, wait. You know what? You're right. Did we do 4? Is this 5?
I think this is 5.
All right, I'm gonna look.
You're gonna do some Googling while I go on a soliloquy.
There you go. Go ahead.
Look at those words.
Do your thing.
I forgot what I was talking about. We were talking about the staging of fights and things like that, and building up characters, and we were talking about building up angles, and how MMA has to differentiate itself from WWE. Do you want to be considered as a sport? Do you want to be considered as a spectacle? We went on a big thing, sport versus spectacle.
Sure.
So to see these angles being played out, are they fake? You're wondering, is it leaning towards the spectacle side? But it does, regardless of if it's leaning towards the spectacle side, it's generating interest.
Sure. And
it's generating people to watch. There's a lot of stuff going around about the upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter with Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva.
Yeah.
And
where they I think that they
generally hate each other.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. That man really strongly dislikes him.
But what was said before, about 6 months before they signed to do that, was if Chael went into Brazil, he probably wouldn't come out. Because not just
that has more to do with the Brazilians,
right? That's what, right? But you know what I'm saying?
Because they're very prideful of their country, and he said a lot of really bad stuff
things,
with Anderson Silva and
Chael
Brazilians.
say bad things? No, never happened.
Yeah, I know. But then there was this big thing. All these articles written. Oh, Chael and Wanderlei come to blows on the end. On the Ultimate Fighter, and then you see there's a commercial now advertising that scrap. And when I watched it, and I'm sorry to say, it looks really horrifically fake. Like, it looks straight up like action movie, kung fu movie. Like, Wanderlei throws this wild looping overhand right, and Chael Sonnen times this perfectly dropped double leg and gets him down, and Wanderlei knows how to throw a proper punch.
Right.
And if it's that easy for Chael to slip his punch and get a double leg in an unexpected cheap shot fight, then this is going to be a very bad main event. Because all he's going to do is duck under the punch and take him down.
But with that being said, at times, unlike being in the cage, when adrenaline takes over more of street fight action, you can kind of sense that, and I'm not saying it wasn't staged, but when it kind of takes over, you kind of lose thought process, where that's where being an MMA fighter, you have, you keep your process, even getting punched in the face or, kicked or whatever it might be.
I mean, more so you're acting on trained instinct, which is something that you've just repeated 1.5 million times.
Sure.
And so I'm gonna actually kind of stop you and say that it's not too different.
You don't think
if
so?
someone throws at me on the street, the natural instinct that I have picked up through training over the last 10 years or 7 years or whatever is still going to kick in. It doesn't turn off just because I'm not there. It's just you ramp up certain intensity levels, certain adrenaline levels, certain focus levels. You still have the same instincts when you're, not fighting. They don't go away.
All right.
It'd be impossible to just be like, now I am a fighter. And now I'd not be a fighter. It's just like if someone tried to knock you, push you over, you still have your balance and stuff that you've developed from football and stuff like that. You don't forget how to
it's not exactly easy.
recover.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, okay, you bring up a good point.
Boom.
So we're going to see Rampage take on King Mo for the end of this tournament, I guess, right?
Yes, for the next, because there's still Attila.
Yes, that's right. There's 2 more fights. That's right.
Are the interim.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to fight for that.
Yep.
And then
we'll see. Well, it'll be 2 more fights, and then we'll get another championship out.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff there, and then a lot of great fights actually set up for Bellator coming up with Curran and Strauss.
One of my Facebook friends, Matt Bissett, was on the last card there against Diego Nunes, and that was a great fight. Real barn burner. Bissett came out on top, so congrats to him. To Team Balance, one of my teammates by Balance Association, and also a Bins Management fighter.
Plug.
Hey, come on now. It's like an extension.
We can do that. That's right.
All right. It's won his tournament entrance spot over a name that I can't pronounce.
Nice.
It was
just a lot of names.
Another good
Bellator
fight. Another third name. another third 3-round fight, and it was very impressive. He was fighting. Both of them were fighting uphill battles. Both of them were fighting the picked favorites, and both of them came out on top. So that was pretty badass. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And that's the perk of the tournament system right there. Is those are two guys that if you threw on the main card, most people wouldn't care.
Right.
But they're put up against these guys that are supposed to be beating them, that are the bigger names.
Right.
And now these two guys are the big names as well as the guys that they beat, and you have this whole just generated, creation of fighters, of new names,
right,
and of slight rivalries.
Making
even
better fighters and all that. What an amazing concept! Amazing concept.
Just picking people at random.
So, by the way, we are at episode 5. You are correct. We are at episode 5.
Damn right I'm. I love being right. I get hit in the head for a living.
You do. Well, listen, I've taken plenty of headshots, all right? And even with a helmet on, doesn't matter. Remember them old school helmets we used to have with the crappy air pockets in them?
You had to inflate them to size them.
Yes, exactly. Remember those?
They give you a headache for about the first 3 weeks.
Oh, God, man, those were awful. The freaking forehead pad right in the front. And then they went with the plastic face masks. You remember those? My first year playing football, we had those. Oh, God, they were terrible. That was the worst creation ever. Whoever came up with those.
I had one of the metal ones, and that got bent once. It had the frame with kind of like the rubber stuff over it. And someone just smashed into it, and it just caved in. I was like, oh.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Wow.
Right?
Hit
Technology.
you pretty hard. Yeah, amazing.
We're banging out here.
Now football, they got the pretty helmets and everything.
Yeah, made out of carbon fiber.
I'll tell you what, they're nice.
Really?
The last one I had was the Speed. It was actually very nice. It was like putting a glove on my head.
Anyway,
and moving forward, that's going to wrap actually things up, man. And good to see you again.
Strong note to end on.
There you go.
Hey, Bernie. You're stupid. All right, there you go.
Bang! By the way, how is his training going?
He's going well. He's working hard.
He looks a little skinnier in his pictures.
He is. He's lost something like 20 pounds.
That's it?
Yeah.
I've lost 60.
Well, he missed a few weeks because of car troubles.
Tell him to walk. Doesn't he have a bike?
He lived out in Beeville for a while.
Who would want to live in Beeville?
Apparently Bernie. There you go. He's back near enough to the gym now, and he's got his car back on the road, so he's been relatively regular.
Tell him better start walking.
Yeah, well, right, that would...
Bernie, listen, let me give you some fat guy advice, all right? If you walk, you burn more calories. So therefore, you lose more weight. No, listen, I got nothing but love.
Come on, I'm trying to defend you, Bernie, for once.
Nothing but love.
That's not true. I don't like you.
Is he the youngest brother?
He's the middle.
Oh,
I know, shocking, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so
I'm
he
the
takes
youngest.
okay.
I'm the youngest.
You're the baby, so you get coddled.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. I'll recall that when he put me through a chair when I was 7 and gave me 10 stitches in my face.
I love it. Or
the scar in the back of my head where he broke a music box over my head. Oh yeah, I was the baby.
Wow, you had a very
gentle.
Now I understand why you're getting punched in the face. Ain't so bad.
Well, it's beautiful now because now anytime they try anything, I'm like, do it. Do you remember that time when you held me down and pretended to shave off my eyebrows? Do you remember that? That's something that happened, by the way.
See, it's funny because the same thing in
they took the blade out of the razor and just ran it over my eye.
What?
Yeah, they pretended to shave off my eyebrows. That was
and you went crying, didn't you? You did.
I wasn't happy. No. I was like 12. If someone's pinning you down trying to shave your eyebrows off, how would you have reacted at 12?
I don't feel bad for you. My cousins and my sister tied my hands and my arms behind my back at Thanksgiving once. I don't.
That's
feel
a
bad
lot
for
of
you,
rope.
Man. I wasn't that big though. Right? You dick. Anyway, that's gonna wrap things up for episode 5. Pretty good.
Cinco.
Learned some things today.
Look at that.
So, good to be back. Of
Half
course,
a dime.
Enjoy your time, and we'll have some announcements coming soon.
Some announcements soon.
Crazy Smooth Combat Radio, episode 5. We got to go.